Welcome into Sports Tonight. Bailey Burmaster joined alongside Ellie Parker for this Wednesday edition of Sports Tonight. We got quite a lineup. We have something really exciting. The Falcons unveiled their new renovations. We won't go there just yet, but unveiled their new locker room, weight room, all that good stuff. So we're going to get a first look at it. Ellie and I have not seen it.
I've seen a little bit.
Stop peeking. Stop peeking. Because we're gonna
5 seconds.
We're gonna cold react to what we're seeing. Then Corky Kell has officially kicked off, games underway. Talk a little bit about that. Braves getting a much needed boost in the outfield, which will be nice.
Hope.
And then it feels like it's too soon to talk about basketball season, but the NBA Cup schedule is out. So we will start with all that. But let's talk about these new Falcons digs. They started these renovations a long time ago. The locker room definitely needed to be updated. So, okay, go to the video, Ellie, and let's see what we're working with. Okay, a lot bigger.
Oh, look, it looks like a modern NFL locker room.
It really does. I think my favorite part is when you would walk into this locker room, usually there's a big Falcon on the floor. And if you stepped on the Falcon, the players made whoever stepped on it do 50 push-ups and would count them.
Oh, no.
So there's no Falcon in the middle of the floor to step on, so we no longer have to do that. But there's essentially 2 rooms, it looks like. The locker rooms have nice seating, red lights.
It looks comfy.
It does. It looks dark, which, maybe they need to get a some training camp. Look at the top there. Look at the emblem. That's sweet. Instead of on the floor, that's where it is. I think that looks really good.
They're gonna say if you're under it now, you have to be 50.
Well, let's not do that. I hope not. Got some TVs. There weren't really TVs or couches in there before. There was just no room for them. They usually had some sections in the middle with lockers.
Today we'll be in pads tomorrow, trying to dry the shoulder pads, same day. Nobody wants to put on it.
I love the...
Just lock up some personal
those
items.
usually have ventilation too, so they can vent out all the smoke.
At the end of the day, we close it up.
You see their helmets, okay, cleats.
Turn that roster over.
Zone for them to put their shoes. Oh, the helmet room. Oh, that looks sleek.
That looks so good.
So they had moved all of this into their indoor facility. That was where their barber shop was, the locker rooms were, until very recently. So they had to move everything out of the building. They got the construction done, and now it looks much improved. It's funny because you see all those rankings from the NFL about who has the best food, who has the best what. And the Falcons ranked really high in a lot of stuff except locker room. I want to say it was like C or D.
Yeah.
And then it'll start moving.
It
I want
wasn't
to say they were not next to them.
but that was kind of the point for the mere fact that they were in the middle of renovations by the time that got out. So now you get to see a whole new facility. I'm sure these players are loving it. It definitely helps them with these long days of training camp. It'll definitely be better once season gets underway. It just makes everything more cozy.
Yeah, they definitely look...
There's
cozy.
the barber shop,
the barber
which is
shop.
apparently quarterback Kirk Cousins' favorite part. I can't tell if he's being serious or not. I don't think so. I think he's just buying into the ATL culture. I mean, the barber shop looks cool.
It looks cool.
But how often do they bring in a barber? That's
also,
a story we need
how
to
much
seek
hair does Kirk Cousins have to cut to begin with?
Ellie, shots fired there. Shots fired. Here's the weight room. The weight room looks really cool, so it does overlook the practice field, so you could kind of see a little bit inside of it. And it has retractable, help me out here, garage doors, so you can open it up when it's really nice. When a fall, it's definitely not nice now. It's humid and hot, but they still have them open. So that's where they get all their lifts in. It looks real sleek. It really, really does.
Looks massive.
It's pretty big. Look how many weight racks they have. And then you have, of course, the Falcon on every piece of weight equipment. I'm sure that was cheap.
What's the heaviest weight you could lift?
You got to give me a squat, deadlift,
Just straight
bench
up,
press,
straight up
curl,
curl.
like a curl. Oh, I actually curled some earlier this week. I would say I could maybe do a 40.
I don't think I could do a 40, even on this hand, this left hand.
I'll tell you what, I was doing 20s the other day, and I was doing a lot of reps, and that was hard. But if I had to do just 1 or 2, and you're talking heaviest weight, I'm going to say 40. Okay, so this is now where they have their
so
food,
delicious.
smoothies.
I'm sorry.
How nice is that?
That looks so.
All
I'm
the
hungry.
Pedialyte packets, get your electrolytes, apparently some slushies as well. Did not know that. The new renovated cafeteria. I'm not sure how the food is. We usually don't get in on that food, but I would love to hear from the players what it's like.
That looks very cool with all
That
the
does, the
trading
collage.
cards.
Yeah, okay, so we got some harvest snaps, some bananas and apples, all healthy options, as you would predict. Maybe some
Well, as you'd hope.
cheese, and I bet you they have like an omelet bar in the morning. That just sounds like that's what it would be.
All right, I'm hungry. I'm not gonna.
Ellie's opting out.
Not gonna make myself any hungrier.
So Drake London didn't have the best day earlier this week, but that was not the case on Wednesday. He looked really sharp, had a solid practice. Him and Kirk Cousins definitely had talked about that, about connecting better on the deep ball, and that seemed to be the case today. Captain Kirk took the podium to speak with media. Let's listen into what he had to say this week.
It was a strong practice. I think that to have a strong practice, you really need all three phases of football showing up. And I thought our defense showed up at times. Our offense made plays. I don't pay attention too much to special teams, but I'm sure it was a good practice. But players making plays, and that's what you want to see, and I think we had that. I think guys strained and worked and got better today, and there's always going to be a few plays you want back. So we just kind of keep taking steps. Right now it's that time of year where you just every day you go out looking for continuous improvement, and you know that there's not a true game lingering a day or two away like there is in the season, but you still feel that sense of urgency to get better and improve and get better as a group, building towards week one and beyond. So take any questions you have.
It looked like you were very comfortable today, kind of airing it out. Maybe more
Yeah, we did go a little deeper today, yeah.
Any reason for that, and how did you feel?
Yeah, I think the play call is part of it. We're calling shots, and I think defensive structure sometimes where a shot called is not a shot taken if the defense plays something deep. But I felt like we kept getting opportunities, and it wasn't like they were open. It was more like they were one-on-one. And so you felt like, Drake give him a chance down the field, Kyle Pitts give him a chance down the field, Mooney, and even Charlie Werner. So, I think it's important that we do that to evaluate. Hey, how is this guy in a one-on-one tight window situation? And I think I like the results today with the way the guys came down with the football.
You hit Drake on a number of big plays where he kind of went up to the ball.
Yeah.
What are you seeing from him, and what are you liking about those situations with him?
Yeah, he's been great at the catch point. Takes pride in that. Expects to catch difficult catches. He expects to bring it in, and he separates well. I think the concern is with a guy who's a hands guy is like, well, how does he move? How does he separate? But Drake's separating well, where you feel like you're getting the best of both worlds. And then when you add his size, visually and otherwise, it's just kind of a friendly target where you feel like he's covered, but he's open because he gives you a bigger surface area to throw the football. So when you combine all that, you kind of like the potential there.
Yeah, he had a kind of a rough day on Monday, and I saw you talked to him and Kyle after practice and kind of throwing the ball a little bit to them once practice was over. What did you say to him then, if you could tell us, and do you think some of that kind of carried over to today because he played really well today?
Yeah, I think, again, like there may have been one ball that he thought he should have caught on Monday that I felt like, yeah, but at the same time, it was bang, bang, and the guy punches it out. It's not, I don't really view it as a drop, but he was hard on himself. And in post-practice, we were just going over a specific look that we saw in Miami that we hadn't had time to review, and so I wanted to cover it with him. And maybe if he felt the chip on his shoulder, came to practice today, but I think the challenge is, if that's the case, I'd go talk to him to say, hey, we all kind of have to have that chip on our shoulder every day. So I would think it was just him coming out and being Drake London and having a good day.
Kirk, you've been in this position a few times where you're learning a new offense, the new coach. Where do you say the team is right now as far as training camp at this point?
Yeah, I ask that question myself like 17 times a day. Where are we? Or what are we not doing? What do I got to go cover that hasn't been covered? Unfortunately, it's hard to know. It's hard to really know until you play. I've heard some head coaches say they don't really know the team they have until week 4 or 5, and I can see why they say that. But where we are right now, I like our group. I think that the Miami practices were a good test for us. We have to keep bringing intensity every day, and you got to believe that if you do that, your coaches will have you ready.
Do you feel like being here, being a vet, but being with a new team, new coach, learning everything, is it kind of refreshing for you specifically?
I'm enjoying it. I think it starts with Raheem. He's a cheerful person. He doesn't carry the weight of the world on his shoulders, which a lot of head coaches do, understandably. But he comes to work. He enjoys being a coach. He enjoys being a head coach. He enjoys relating to people. As I walked off the field today, he gave me feedback with a smile on his face, and I think that infiltrates the whole building. I really like playing with, there's guys who are younger than me, obviously, but I really like the guys, right? So I'm 35, about to be 36. They're 23, 24, but I feel like we're buddies, and that's fun. I like them as people, and so I enjoy going to work with them. I think our offensive line is really humble and really hungry, and that's really fun to step in a huddle where you feel like these guys they just want to strain and work and do the best they can for their O-line coach, for me, for their teammates, and you just love that. And so there's a lot of reasons to come into work and really enjoy, who you work with and what you do.
Do you like preseason games? Like Raheem was pretty honest, he says he doesn't like them. Do you like, you're not even playing in them, so, and then you don't get the team until later,
Yeah.
week 4 or 5. And do you think they're valuable, or?
I do. I'd like to play. We've talked about this, right? We've been there. If I'm playing, yes, they're valuable, right? I'm going to get something out of it. I'm going to get a lot out of it. I think what's hard is, you get home at 4 a.m., and I think that's the hard part where you're like, ooh, this is tough, So I think that's the challenge, is the logistics of it all, but it's good work, and it's the real thing, and we can try as hard as we can to make practice feel like the real thing. It doesn't. It's different when it's a game, and so I think it has value, but there will always be this debate as long as guys are getting hurt, like what we had the other night.
Kurt, when we were down in Miami, you talked about kind of keeping your instincts sharp, even if you're not going to be suiting up in these preseason games. Noticed you on some of the rollouts today. What are some of the instincts on those types of plays where you're extending kind of the pocket and you're moving yourself?
Yeah, a couple bootlegs. Those probably feel pretty natural just because of the years of banked reps. And come on in, Led. You're not gonna throw me off, although you just interrupted me. Yeah. You're good. I like that polo. That's kind of a subtle flex there. I've seen him with the Hall of Fame logo, but never with selector written underneath. So sounds like you're the guy we all players got to be nice to then. I think it's really important that you do play off schedule, that you do move, and that they're going to blow a quick whistle at times, but that you try to get it to feel like a game. That's important, and it's hard with a red jersey, but it's a big part of football. As you watch guys, off schedule plays are a big part of being successful.
And talking about learning about some of the guys out there today with some of the deep shots.
Yeah.
When you let it go, did you expect Charlie Warner to go have a Jesse Bates?
No, I didn't. No, it was
–
so I could talk all day about this, but it was 4th down. So the ball's got to go somewhere. They dropped both defensive ends. I got Mooney on my left. He was kind of doubled. I was trying to get to Bijan on my right. He's doubled. So I'm like, oh, boy. So now it's off schedule, right? But I think they may have only rushed 3. I'm not sure. I go back and watch the tapes. You got time. O-line held up. And then it's a question of, okay, do I run around or do I try to find somebody from the pocket? I saw Charlie one-on-one, and I thought it's 4th down, put it up. And I thought, as the ball's in the air, I'm going, Charlie Warner and Jesse Bates, odds aren't in our favor. And then next thing you know, it's a touchdown. So you never know. But I think when I go back and watch it, I'll think critically, should I just run? Should I have taken off, left the pocket? And that's where even after a touchdown, you don't really watch the film, patting yourself on the back. You more watch the film saying, yeah, but what's the most sustainable way to convert a 4th down in that situation moving forward when both of my primaries are covered? Is it run? Is it go somewhere else? What is it? And I think those are the conversations you have in the meeting room this afternoon, rather than just saying, "Oh, look at Charlie, what a great catch,"
So you're evaluating the decision.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, process over results all day. Process over results all day.
Did you watch that one on the video board?
I did. I think he was. I was watching to see if he was in bounds because I thought he was out of bounds, but he was in bounds. But we'll watch it a few more times this afternoon.
Hey, Kirk, at this point in the season, what do you feel needs to be done to reach your desired level of performance for the offense?
Well, right now it's just stacking days, having really strong practices, making every rep count, and trying to feel like you were better today than you were last week or a month ago, and then do it again and again and again. And every rep is so valuable, and it's a slow accumulation, but there's no doubt that the accumulation over time is a powerful thing, and that's what we're building towards.
Off the line a little bit earlier. What do you expect from this run game? It's a little hard to kind of see from our perspective here.
Well, I mean, I have high expectations. I think we have good backs. I think we have a strong O-line group. I think our O-line coach does a very good job. I think the guys are they know what they need to do. They have an identity, which is important. I think we have to have our tight ends having a big impact as well, which is why we went and got Charlie. Kyle Pitts, I think, has really stepped up in both pass protection and in his run blocking this camp, and I think that's another sign of progress, continuous improvement. So all those pieces have to fit together, and if one of them is out, including me, I got to get us in the right run plays and out of the wrong ones. And as long as we're all working together, I think I have high expectations. But if one of those things is off, it can ruin the whole deal. So that's why you feel that razor's edge every day when you come out.
So can you talk about a little bit to what you were saying, the kind of adjustments that you're making offensively to continue building that chemistry, to kind of fit the strengths and weaknesses of the players, the position players?
Yeah, I think you just want to make sure you're covering all your bases. And so you get through a week and you say, hey, have we tried this? Have we done this? Is there something I'm missing? Our hand signals, our snap counts? Is there anything I'm not covering that's going to show up in the season that we need to go back and look at? And so you're trying to hit every phase of offense and all the different, issues that could arise and cover it now so that when you get to the regular season, it feels like we've talked about this, it's familiar, and we're ready to go.
I know we've been talking about you going over to your receivers and talking them through things that you would have liked to see differently or whatever. When it comes to them asking you questions, how much do you see a desire for them to learn?
Yeah, really strong desire. Mooney's locker is next to me, so we have conversations all day long. Drake, much the same way. Kyle Pitts, much the same way. I really enjoy having discussions with them. And many times just telling them how awesome they are, going over and saying, hey, you killed him on that route. That was really good. Or, hey, nice catch, man. That was awesome, one-handed catch. So, giving them praise when it's due, and it is a lot of the time. And then just making sure that in difficult looks you say, hey, this is what you were thinking, but this is what I was thinking. Let's talk about what's the best option.
Going back to the Charlie Warner catch for a second, do you remember the first thing that you thought as soon as he grabbed that ball?
This is a funny game. I think you can scheme it up. You can have all these plans. You can, think there's no chance, and then next thing you know, you're blocking tight end. Moss is one of your best players on your team. But I joked with the guys. I said, hey, when Jesse starts, and Jesse's not like this, but I said, if Jesse starts, feeling himself a little bit in one-on-ones or something, I'm going to say, hey, Jesse, don't make me send Charlie over there. We all know what happened. So
we get to tour the facility later to see the upgrades, and I know you can't compare it to last season since you weren't here, but what's your favorite part about, what they've done?
Let me think about that. Love the calf. It's a great setup, big kitchen. The barber shop is eyebrow raising. We got like 3 chairs. It's taking up a lot of square footage. So I said, priorities here. Clearly, getting a haircut's a big deal here. The Falcons culture, you better be lined up because the amount of square footage that we have devoted to haircuts, I mean, this is you better come in clean. So.
A lot of times the identity is talked about, identity either schematically or identity as how you play.
Yeah.
What's more important in your mind?
Well, I kind of see him as one a little bit. I think identity is a big deal, that you know what you do well and that you can do it versus any look. And I think when you're just running plays and you don't really have an identity, but you just run plays, you really don't own it. And you really don't, when you get that tough look, you go, what am I doing here? So I think when teams, have an identity, they know what they do well, they know how to do it versus every look, and they can take it to the bank. I think that's something you can really lean on in crunch time during the season. And I think when you create change, you have new players, new coaches, you got to reestablish that. The identity just doesn't show up, and so that's part of our challenge. Is I think we're still figuring out what is our identity and what does it look like, and it takes some of the season to get there, but. The good teams, I think, have one, and we've got to get one here, soon as we get into the season.
At this point of training camp, how do you kind of get over how do you deal with the repetitiveness of it, where you don't have to you're preparing for every week and things like that?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think it's a question I've asked myself, because I count high school 2 days, so I've been in, training camp for like 22 years, but, I haven't had too many Augusts off, so. But I think you enjoy being in the present and just saying today is Wednesday, I think. I'm going to have the best Wednesday practice I can possibly have. And I'm going to forget about what Tuesday was. I don't care what Thursday's about to be. can I just go out and dominate and shred our defense on Wednesday? And, like, if you can keep that focus of just being in the present moment, that's the best way to go about it. And you look up, and it's been 6 weeks, and the Steelers are here, and that's kind of how it goes. So one day at a time. And as I've said to the teammates many times, I say, guys, the days in this league are long, the years are short. And you look up, and it's year 13. So just keep stacking days.
And speaking of the defense real quick, how impressed have you been with them in camp so far, and how do you see that impacting the offense's performance?
Well, a lot of respect for our defense. I think the way they play some coverages, they do a really good job. There's some base coverages. You say, I've played that coverage many, many times. Then you play our defense, you go, that's a little different. They do it, to another level. So that's encouraging to see. And I think they're well coached. I think they're well led by the players. And I think we don't get enough chances to go against the ones right now. It's kind of ones versus twos, and then we have these few periods throughout the day or throughout the week where we get to compete against the ones. But when we do, those are real important periods for us. And I think it's really competitive when we do that, which is a good thing.
Kirk, when we talk about the identities and kind of the time it takes to find it out there on the field, is there an added sense of urgency given how front-loaded the schedule is?
Oh, no doubt.
Division games to lock
Yeah,
in that?
yeah. I mean, I've been on teams where, I've started, I think, 1-5, and you look up and it's like, oh, no. And then we worked our way back, but it's too late. And so, there's definitely, you got to get the wind at your back, and you do that by winning early. And so that's partly why training camp, I think, is such an important deal, is we've got to hit the ground running when week 1 gets here.
So, Ellie, I don't
We're
know
not
if you
quite
saw.
done
No.
with the Falcons.
No. I was going to say, did you just see the news?
Oh, yes. Yes, I did.
Would you like to tell the beautiful people what the Falcons are getting?
The Patriots have finally found a solution to their Matthew Judon contract standoff by just shipping him to the Falcons for a third-rounder, according to reporter Ian Rappaport.
4-time Pro Bowler.
4-time Pro Bowler.
I like this.
Oh, I very much like this for the Falcons.
That's a good get for the Falcons, especially after all the injuries they've had.
Yes.
Let's run through them. Helms with an ankle, he's going to miss significant time. Braylon Trice, who I think they were going to, he was the 3rd round pick, I believe, they were really going to depend on him to get some pressure, and then he's out with an ACL. Not ideal. You're kind of going, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And here we go.
Yeah, this is sort of the big
piece on defense.
Yeah.
To get them where they need to be.
I'm a journalist.
Yeah. Listen,
That's
it
fair.
happens to the best of us. That's what Sports Tonight is for. So we'll keep an eye on that. Falcons are back at practice tomorrow, so I'm sure once this becomes official, hopefully it becomes official tonight. That way we can actually ask them about the process and what Judon can bring to the team. So very exciting news. Switching gears to, we're staying with football, but high school
I swear there was a
football.
reason for the sound you just heard.
Yes.
Corky Kell.
Corky Kell, Dave Hunter officially kicked off.
Off
2
with
games today.
Douglas Atlanta is going on right now,
Yes.
as we speak, against LaGrange. Douglas Atlanta is leading 18-3 somewhere in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, that's what it was at half 2. And then tonight, this North Atlanta and Kell. So we'll have all those highlights on Atlanta News first, so make sure to tune in. But if you want to tune in throughout the week, you can obviously see that on our website and everywhere else as we stream those games. There's 2 more tomorrow, 3 on Friday, and then 4 from the Benz on Saturday. Great news for the Braves.
Great news for the Braves.
Finally, some good news.
Who have not been going through good times lately. They've been on the struggle bus.
Oh, man. But did
At
not
least they're
do well
doing
in
better than the
Colorado.
Phillies, I guess.
They have won 2 straight against the Giants in extra innings. Charlie Morton got his 2000th strikeout last night. Huge for them. 1-4-3. Back at it tonight at 9:45. But they have officially reinstated Michael Harris II. Get some reinforcement with his glove. But he's someone who had a grade 2 hamstring strain.
Yes.
And he has not played since June. They've been playing without him. So really nice to get him back.
Very nice. Hopefully you hope his bat comes back along with his glove.
It's, I think people forget baseball's a long season. They want to call quits on the Braves already, but Never, as the Goonies say, never say die.
Never say die.
Never say die.
Especially with this Braves team.
Listen, they could heat up. Listen, wouldn't you rather? This is what I would always say. Wouldn't you rather them be a little cold and up and down right now, and then come September and October, they're in midseason form.
For whatever reason, they seem to have inherited some of the Cardinals' voodoo. This team doesn't die.
No. So we'll see.
They're the serial killer at the end of the movie.
Okay, easy.
Just like you think they're dead, and no, they just pull up
Just
out
some
of
Michael
nowhere.
Myers.
Michael Myers. That
Not there. All of a sudden, he's there. You never know.
this team doesn't die.
We'll keep you posted on all of that. Basketball season won't be here until October, but we are getting a clearer picture of what's going on with the Hawks for their schedule for the NBA Cup. Do you want to give the beautiful people their rundown?
At the Boston Celtics on Tuesday, November 12th, versus the Washington Wizards on Friday, November 15th. At my Chicago Bulls, Friday, November 22nd, and facing the Cleveland Cavaliers, Friday, November 29th, here in Atlanta to finish it off.
Obviously, the Celtics in Boston, never an easy feat, that one at TD Garden. Wizards being in Atlanta is interesting because there was all that talk with Alex Sarr and how he didn't want to work out I almost said the Falcons, for the Hawks. So he'll be visiting here. That will be a little French matchup, maybe between him and Zachary Riesel-Shea. And then at the Bulls, you want to give a preview of the Bulls and what they're looking like? Yeah, they no longer have Caruso.
Oh, being a fan of this team is pain.
Pain for all Chicago sports. Anyway, moving forward, Cleveland Cavs in town, Donovan Mitchell and the gang. Some good matchups for the NBA Cup. Ellie, what is on your mind tonight?
JJ McCarthy, no.
Oh man, isn't that?
I feel so bad for him.
Isn't that tragic? I feel bad for him. But it's probably the smart move.
It's
obviously.
probably the smart move at this point.
Yeah,
I feel so bad.
Brutal. We got to talk to head coach Tanisha Wright and Ryan Howard of the Dream. We were talking to them about being in Paris, what the Olympics were like, and it was really funny. Ryan said in the opening ceremonies, everyone was like, "We were looking for you. You were looking for you," and she was like, "It was raining. I was inside. I was staying dry." She did say she was disappointed to not really ever get to talk to Simone or meet Simone, but she did get to talk to Sha'Carri Richardson, and so she really enjoyed those conversations. She said luckily they stayed at a hotel because Team USA for basketball always stays at a hotel, and they didn't have to endure those terrible beds, so to speak. Was also disappointed to come home with a bronze. You know, they were calling it rose gold. Wish it would have been gold, but better to come home with something than nothing. 4 total medals for the Dream. Head coach Tanisha Wright got a gold. Paul, who's an assistant coach, came home with a bronze with Australia. They also have one of their recent draftees that played for Australia. She also is coming home with a bronze, and then obviously the bronze for Ryan Howard. So some good hardware for the Dream. So we will hear from them throughout the week. They get back in action come Friday. All right, that will do it for this edition of Sports Tonight. For Ellie Parker, I'm Bailey Burmaster. Make sure to join us tomorrow for all your latest sports headlines. Have a good night.